Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning back in. I appreciate it. You are hanging out in Holistic and Well, and this is a place where we learn about herbalism, intentional wellness, and self-healing. And in case it's your first time here, I am Wendy, and I'm so glad that you have decided to tune in. How's everyone going and doing with the new year? I'm doing pretty well. I've got my some additional things put on my vision board, and I have been journaling in my Law of Attraction journal. I'm really super excited about this journal. I've got a little clip on my Instagram about it if you want to check that out. So today we're going to talk about something that seems to be pretty important with a lot of people. I did a couple of social media polls about the 4 pillars of health and where they were struggling, and sleep was probably 3/4 of the answers that I got. So I decided I'm going to do a 4-part series on sleep because it is so important. I don't think people understand the importance of sleep until they begin to get well again, because we adapt and we learn how to work within the confines of our life and what that looks like. And we really don't understand. I know I didn't understand until I began to become well and I began to sleep restoratively again, how important it is and when it's lacking. So let's dig right in. Sleep. Signs that you're deprived, signs that you're not sleeping well. Now, I know this probably sounds a little elementary, but I think other than the normal stuff of yawning and being tired, we don't tune in to the actual symptoms of sleep deprivation, of not getting restorative sleep. So, of course, one of the main indications that we are not getting enough sleep is that we're moody. We tend to be more reactive. We tend to be more irritable with just general things that maybe weren't quite as irritating to us before. And sometimes it can be confused maybe with mood or depression. And those things definitely can go hand in hand. But when you notice that, man, everything is just pissing me off, really look at what's going on in your world and what's happening that you're feeling that way. Obviously, fatigue. There got to be a place where trying to function after like 1 o'clock was pretty much near impossible. It was just tired to the point of couldn't keep my eyes open, had to take a nap. When I was doing community-based services, that would be exactly what I would do sometimes is I would find, in between appointments, I would find a Price Chopper or a Walmart or something, and I would lock my doors and I would put my head back and I would rest for like 20 or 30 minutes because I literally felt like I couldn't go on. And when you get to that kind of fatigue, you have to really ask yourself, what the heck is going on inside of my body? Brain fog, really struggling with being able to cognitively have this process that we normally have or that we naturally have to problem solve and to be on our feet and sharp. That brain fog is huge. Lack of motivation, when you just really don't want to do anything extra because you just don't have the energy. I've been there and I'm there sometimes now just with the adrenal fatigue. When you crave carbs or salt, that is a huge indication that your body is deprived of something. It's connected to sleep for sure, but maybe there's some other things that are lacking. A lot of times your libido can be, your sex drive can be suppressed. We barely feel like doing the things that we have to do, let alone, I hate to say it, but sex is kind of extra sometimes and it takes energy. And if you're not sleeping well, putting energy into something that's not about like basic functioning is kind of off the table. Dreaming, one of the huge indicators that I didn't dream for probably 2 years. And of course we think, oh, I just don't remember my dreams. But when you're not remembering any of your dreams, you're probably not getting into that dream state, those delta waves that really help with restoration of your body, being able to do like a mental brain dump of everything you experienced for the day, and the brain picking through of what's important and storing and filing those things, and like dismissing the rest. It's kind of like your phone. When you have a lot of clutter on your phone operates at a slower pace. So those are all real basic, I hate to say basic, but those are symptoms that coincide with sleep deprivation. Now, how does long-term sleep deprivation impact the body and the mind? So what happens is you begin to accumulate what's called a sleep debt. So if you're not getting what you have figured out is what you need, I figured out I need about 7 hours. Of course, all the big websites, the AMA, the APA, those all say that adults need between 6 and 8 hours. I think it's actually been revised. I could be wrong, but I think it's 7 to 9 hours. So we'll just go with the 6 to 8. If you're not getting, let's say one night you get 4 hours of sleep, so you're already in a deprivation of, let's say, a minimum of 2 hours, or you're in a debt of 2 hours. If you go the next night and you only sleep 6 hours, and so forth and so on, you see how you can really accumulate this sleep debt, which really begins to take a toll on your body. And some of the things that can happen, that cognitive functioning I just talked about, that is really impacted, where that ability to problem solve can really be compromised and doesn't come to you as quick or as naturally as it might otherwise. Your sensory input, like it's almost like a numbness, kind of like a sensory numbness or a sensory flatline. And that's because your body is diverting all of the extra power and energy that you have stored in your body to those required and those basic systems. So sometimes the sensories really take a hit when you're tired. Oh my goodness, your immune system. I definitely think that, so the lack of sleep, and then my immune system took a hit, and my diet sucked. So those three things was like this trifecta. And the first thing that I really noticed was my stomach issues that I had, because actually they say our second brain is in our stomach, and it really is. Where everything that I ate upset my stomach. Bowel movements were not regular and looking natural. So, and your immune system is in your stomach. So that's one of the very first things that will begin to be compromised. But we don't really tune in and notice it. We attribute it to maybe it was a bad meal that we ate, or maybe the stomach bug is going around, whatever. We don't usually do this in-depth look at, well, what's going on in my life that my stomach is feeling this way. What also happens when you don't get enough restorative sleep is that your body begins to release insulin, and that's connected to that adrenal fatigue. And then when that insulin is released, you've got all this extra fat floating around, and that's where that weight gain happens around the gut. And then fat begins to form around your organs. And that's where now we begin to have cardiac problems that could emerge, because your blood pressure can also be impacted. So cardiac and diabetes, that's one of the two biggies that are so prevalent in our country. And a lot of the reason that those come about can be attributed probably at some point to the lack of sleep or the lack of restorative sleep. And then the hormone disturbance that happens, because when you are not getting the restorative sleep that you need, a lot of times you're releasing a lot of cortisol, and when you release a lot of cortisol, that makes your testosterone increase. And so you just have this real imbalance of what your hormone levels are supposed to be. And then that kind of goes into the other diagnoses, like the adrenal fatigue that can happen. So very much I know that my diagnosis that I have are very, very much attached to my lack of restorative sleep, probably in my 20s and my 30s. We've talked about the symptoms, we've talked about the impact. I'm going to put a sleep audit on my website for you to download and for you to kind of take an inventory of what's going on with your sleep. Sleep etiquette is super important, and that's going to be on there. And I'm actually going to do a whole video on sleep etiquette or sleep hygiene. It's called both of those things. Because a lot of times it's this real vicious circle. I can't sleep, so I grab an electronic, but the electronic keeps me awake, so I can't sleep. And so you just have this real toxic cycle that happens, and it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. I hear clients tell me, I can't go to sleep without looking at my phone first. And then when we begin to dive in of, well, like, how long does it take you to go to sleep? And when you get to sleep, do you stay to sleep? And we begin to find out, oh, well, maybe the phone really isn't helping with the sleep process. So that's about it for today. Look at the sleep audit freebie on my website. I've got the wellness audit up. Have you taken that yet? Have you been journaling about your wellness? Have you done a vision board? These are all things. See how we're kind of building up, and if this is your first time tuning in, go back, listen to those, and then come back and join us, because these are building blocks, and we are building upon one concept to the next. And some of the stuff you might already know. And if you do, please chime in and share your experiences so that the rest of us have that information, because information really is power. If you like what you're hearing and you want to continue to receive information on chronic illness and how we can thrive with it rather than survive, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and become a part of the wellness community that we are trying to build. If you like the information in this video, give me a thumbs up. Hit me up on Instagram and Facebook, Holistic and Well. I'm still looking at TikTok. I'm trying to figure out the angle I want to take, because when I go to TikTok to laugh and have fun. I don't go to TikTok for this serious stuff. So I'm trying to figure out my angle and how that's going to look so that it's fun for you to watch and it's fun for me to do. So that's about it for today. You know what? I say it every week, but I mean it. You could be doing a million other things, but you are deciding to hang out in here with me in Holistic and Well, and I really, truly appreciate it. So until next week, you take care and you be holistic and well. Bye-bye.